Welcome, Take It Up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with the VP of Marketing from Nuance, George Skaff. George, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I've heard about your company, and I'm so excited to talk to you about this whole voice. That's the next UI, right? And your company is a $2 billion company that's deep experience in this area. So tell us about the company and the industry it's in right now. There's a lot of excitement going on.
Exactly. And you describe it really well. So, Nuance has been at the core of conversational AI. Mm-hmm. If you think about this, voice is coming back, becoming the preferred method of communication via different means, via different applications, via different verticals. And we're seeing more and more utilization of voice into everyday's work, everyday productivity, everyday application with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that like my kids, they will use voice first before they text anything. Always using voice to ask for questions. And so I think there's just a lot more demand for voice, but it's not just voice as in asking questions, but for security.
Correct.
Right?
So I think it's interesting when you say that, because in the past, when people said voice, you think about the phone and you think about how the phone maze is all about, and people are certainly not using that anymore. Mm-hmm. There's more digital voice in place. So when you call an institution today, you're going through what we call IVR, and you're going to go through selection of that. Now, you can also use voice to interact with a brand directly on a variety of options. You can also use voice to authenticate yourself.
Yes.
We're seeing more and more utilization of voice in financial institutions for authentication. Mm-hmm. So rather than using your password and PINs, you can use your voice with that. And you think about messaging, especially in places where, whether it's WhatsApp or your own iMessage is being used, rather than using text, you can use voice to record that message and send it along. So it's becoming more and more popular. Now, what's interesting also, it's providing us with great opportunities to analyze this voice, to detect everything else happening around it, to predict what's been happening, and do some analysis with that as well. And you think about the application by itself, we're taking it to new dimensions with using the voice in a variety of places, variety of vertical apps, variety of application that's becoming more and more infused by AI. And, certainly at the core of what we do as a company, all about artificial intelligence. We've been in this business for over 20 years. We were the pioneer in some of what's used today in voice-to-text platform. And Dragon is very famous in the market.
Yes.
So Dragon is all about what Nuance has provided a long time to the migration of what we've seen in today's market, with multiple application utilizing and leveraging the voice as an input with that as you go along.
You play a very significant role because you are in charge of the enterprise division, right? And you're doing the marketing to generate awareness and leads. So I want to dive into the marketing aspect because that's your domain expertise. How do you get people to know about the product and generate those very qualified sales leads?
Yeah, so I'm in charge of the worldwide marketing for the enterprise division. And, it's interesting when we look at how we generate lead or make prospects interested into our product or solution, it's about what we call multi-touch campaigns. We really don't believe there's one particular campaign that's going to interest one prospect. Today consumers are very smart. They're intelligent. They know about the brand. They know about us even before coming to our website. They've heard of us. They've seen our application somewhere, or they heard from another reference where we're using them. So by the time they come to our site, they're well informed and enabled. All we have to do is make sure we point them to the right product and the right solution. And we do this via, variety of campaign that we institute and we launch. And they could be initial direct mail campaign. They could be online ads that are targeted to certain part of our constituents in the vertical market or in certain financial services, some healthcare, some banking, some government sectors, etc. And once we enlist them coming into our site, then a variety of tools that we use in addition. It could be a webinar, it could be a video reference, it could be a collateral piece, it could be a white paper. So these multitude of tools that we use to really engage with the consumer, round up all the knowledge that they need to have before they engage with us. And that's really very important. In today's market, we believe that consumers need to have more than one touch point. They need to know more than one thing about a company. They need to understand not only the product, but they need to understand what would this product do in situations like theirs, whether they are in any application they are or any vertical. And that's why it's important for us to provide them with some use cases and case studies and success stories to learn and see themselves, how they'll be using the product in our company.
And you have a certain sequence that you found to be the most effective. Do you want to share that?
Well, I mean, when people ask us what's the most successful campaign that you launched, by hands down for us are webinars. I mean, I think webinars provide the platform that allow the prospects to listen in, not only to us in Nuance as expert, but most of the time we bring in an industry expert. It could be a customer that deployed the solution. It could be an analyst from a major firm like Gartner or Forrester to speak on our behalf about the product and the market. And we find that the retention rate throughout the webinar is really high. People don't drop off until the end, which is great. We can monitor that and measure it. And what we do after that, we will follow up with a piece of collateral, be it a video testimonial, be it white paper or a case study. And that really intrigues the prospect to continue to be engaging with us as we go along and figure out what solution appeals to them and really relative to their circumstances.
And you're using ABM, an account-based
marketing.
You talked about targeting a variety of roles within an account, given the intent data, right?
Yeah, so I mean, that's also very, very intriguing and very common for us nowadays, that we need to understand well the prospects that we talk to. And we can dissect that via different tools that we have to understand, let's say we're targeting 10 financial institutions in the New York area. Now we know who these 10 institutions are. We can look at the titles of their chief security officer, chief fraud officer, chief CIO sometime or CFO, and understand from these profiles who are these people. And then we can serve ads on their LinkedIn page, on their LinkedIn profile about our products. And that's something that's very common nowadays. So we're not really bombarding them with junk ads. We're bombarding them, or we're serving them with very specific ads that cater to the solution that could be of interest to them. And that would be, our first step into doing it. Then as soon as they could click on an ad, we'll send them to a place where they can look at a library of collateral that is relevant to their environment. Again, I'll use financial services as an example. We have big library of collateral available, so we can let them pick whether they want to look at a white paper, a case study, another video testimonial from an implementation we've done, and that way everything is relevant and everything is consumable by that prospect.
Right. So, what are the challenges that you face right now? It seems like there's a lot of demand because this whole new wave of using voice is becoming very prominent.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because a lot of companies out there, I mean, as you know, on the market, if you say you have anything to do with AI, you're going to get funded as a startup, right? So there are a lot of small companies out there that are claiming that they can do this better than we do. And the reality speaks by itself because we have, hundreds of customers who utilize our product who achieved great results. And we let the results speak for themselves at the end of the day. The challenges we face is in us trying to filter through the noise from the reality. Right. And when we talk to our prospects, to make them understand that you can build a solution based on AI, but you need to have the labs, the intelligence, the company behind that continue to work with you as you continue to grow and provide more and more product and solutions along that path. Right. So this is not a one-stop shop. It's a partnership that we have with our customers, partnership that we have via all the tools that we have with the personnel that we have in place to be able to enable them to achieve their goals. And, you get all the small startups that are doing very small piece of the puzzle. In our case, you really can cover everything all the way originally from the design, the consultation, the implementation, the support, the feedback, the analytics, all of it together. That's very important for us, very important for our large customers that we serve, that we work with day in, day out.
Any lessons learned that you would like to share with marketers out there in this enterprise marketing?
I would be giving my secrets, right? Well, I mean, I think it's important to understand your prospect. And I think in today's market, you can categorize the folks that you talk to into two buckets, right? Those who are ready to look at things and just, looking around without any interest to buy. and those serious prospects that are in the middle of implementation, in the middle of resolving a major crisis that has just happened to them. Let's take fraud, for example, which is a big issue today in all the financial institutions. How do you solve that? And you really need to work with institutions like us who have helped other companies, address fraud and resolve it correctly. Let's talk about conversion. I mean, you come to a website and you're interacting with the website via either virtual assistant or live chat. There's a lot of small companies that offer bots, or chat bots, and there's a big difference between having a mechanical chat bot versus having an intelligent virtual assistant or chat bot like we do. And I think for marketeers, you need to understand, well, where are these prospects in the buying cycle? So you can understand, well, what you need to do to serve them with more and more information to help them make that decision, expedite the decision, and have them make an informed decision. And truly, whether they make a decision with us or not, I take pride in educating our prospects to make the right choice at the end of the day. And of course, if they buy Nuance, that's great, but they could be going out there well educated on what's happening in the market and what are the things they should be looking for and what are the things they should be measuring as a way of success for the implementation at the end of the day.
What are some of the new ways of using voice that you've seen from the requests that you're getting from customers or prospects?
Yeah, I think we talked about this at the beginning. I think voice is becoming a very interesting platform for authentication. And soon it's going to replace everything you authenticate yourself to whether it's a financial institution or transaction that you do. So in today's market, for example, everybody's using either Alexa, Amazon Alexa, or Google Home. You can talk to them and command them.
Right.
But imagine if you're at home and someone telling Alexa to transfer certain amount of money from my savings to my checking account, and it gets in your room sitting, and all of a sudden you go, okay, I may want to do the same thing. How do you authenticate yourself? So you're missing component in that voice authentication to be able to add that component to all the voice transaction happening out there. So now this is the extreme, which is going to happen in the future. Today's reality, you don't want to use anymore your password and PINs to authenticate yourself with some banking institution. And we have implemented and rolled out in 4 of the 5 major banks in the U.S. Voice authentication. So when you call, you could enroll yourself, and next time you call in, you authenticate yourself with voice as you go along.
Well, what if someone records my voice?
Well, it's just very interesting. So we have studies after studies that shows in the way we do it. So when we capture the voice, we're looking at the voice prints, and the element of the voice print that could be relevant to your tone, to your accent, your tonality, etc. with that. And, people tried to break into it and they couldn't. And we have good examples with that. So we're not recording your voice per se. We're recording the tonality. We're recording some voice prints in the background. And all of this is saved at the institution itself. And they can monitor that. So they always compare your voice to what you've recorded in the background.
George, you have all these wonderful technology. Are you actually using it in your own practice? Like, are you drinking your own champagne?
Well, I'm glad you asked. And actually, funny, we say the same thing, drinking our own champagne. We actually implemented our virtual assistant and live chat on our website, and we find it's the best tool out there for consumers to come to our site and to sort of try before you buy. So you can come into our site and chat with virtual assistant, ask her all sort of questions, and then if we find that you're very interested and or you're stuck, we can automatically, transfer that chat to a live agent who can chat with you and provide you more and more information. Okay. And all this dialogue and conversation goes along that transfer, so you don't have to start all over again. I hate it when I call someone and you're discussing things with them and you go, oh, let me transfer you, and then you have to start all over again. We don't do none of that. So all of this text and transfer is captured and transferred intelligently to a live agent, and then the information is provided right there and then on what you're looking for. And that is well implemented in many organizations that we work with, where they see the benefit of what we call this, infused by artificial intelligence, to be able to have all this conversation well captured, analyzed, and communicated properly back to the prospect.
So what's the next big thing for you, George?
Wow, that's a good question. As a marketeer, I think when I look at what's happening in the market, my fear is that the term AI is going to get overused and eventually people are going to reject that. Everyone today is putting AI into every solution and everything that they do. And we have to be careful because we need to, in a way, demystify AI and make sure that's applicable to everyday's application and utilization. And the risk that you have is it'll become a buzzword like virtualization or big data and things like this, and people are not going to care about it anymore or not pay attention. And my role as a marketeer is to make sure that there's something real behind this, because truly there is, and there's great application that can help with that. I mean, AI today is used to save lives. We see AI used in our company, in our healthcare division, to help doctors and nurses in the clinics. We see AI being used when you're driving a car with our software that's powering all this interaction in the back to help steer you in the right direction. We see AI providing great self-service for consumer. What we need to make sure is that communication about AI and the benefits of AI are tangible and are real, and they're not just something all the way, pie in the sky and no one can achieve that.
Right.
Because in today's market, there are some true applications, and I do believe that there'll be more and more available out there in the market in the right platform, in the right format, and the right communication with that.
Wonderful. Well, it's been a great conversation. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you, Jessica. It'll be great to be here.
There you have it. Check it out with Jessica Lee, George Skaff from Nuance.